Does that? Yeah, okay.
That's what it looks like to me.
Well, yeah, we got it. This is my kind of meal. You can reserve first.
Right, they've got their light on already.
I don't know.
Yes, some people's already. I thought we would sit closer
Excuse me.
right here on that side.
Just a minute.
Hey, you done better on this.
I can't get out of the boat.
Let's see.
Y'all mind if I don't get dressed up and work to keep money every day?
Good problem.
Think about that.
I think you did a good job.
Yes, it's beautiful. Beats paying high price at a restaurant somewhere too.
Fans, and we've done it all. We've decorated, we've cooked. We got donations for everything.
Great.
Dear guests of the athletic department of the Bulldog football team, first of all, I'd like to introduce Mr. Sammy Agner of the school board. Mr. Don Wiggins. Don, sit up. Martha, will you, Don? Brenda Carlton and her husband Leland. It's Mr. Dennis here. I didn't see him earlier. Got Mr. Ricketson. Also, we have with us our superintendent of schools and his wife, Ina, Mr. Lester Padgett. Principal of Taylor County High School, Jim Siner. The assistant principal of Taylor County High School, Mr. Gerald Oliver, and his wife, Also, representing Pepsi-Cola, who is very, very, very friendly to our athletic department, Mr. Bill Wright. I don't think they're here, but they're worth mentioning. We are very, very fortunate to have some local doctors in our town and also in Tallahassee that help our football team tremendously. We invited them, but they were unable to come, and that was Dr. James. And first was Dr. James Rawls of Perry, but then we have Dr. Stowers of Tallahassee Orthopedic Clinic and his wife, and Mr. Frank Ambrose, certified trainer. Y'all come on up and get your plate, guys. Within our community who give of their time, and their efforts, and their talents in making our football program the #1 class program that it is. And that's Donald and Billy Grant of the Napa stores. Mr. Swain Norris, voice of the Bulldogs. Stand up, Swain. Mr. Billy Pilla and Patty Pilla. Billy videos each and every one of our football games for us. And then also, as a special guest with us tonight, we have Mr. Dozier Allen of the Big Beneficial Association. And at this time, I'd like to give special thanks to Ted and Diane Rollison. Ted and Diane came out today and coordinated this group of cooking, getting our banquet together. And I believe if they had not been the stabilizing factor, that John Compton and Billy Pillow would have fought 14 times from the day before. I'd like to introduce a group that goes unnoticed, but they probably have more to do with this football team than anyone. That's our coach's wives. Kenny Turner. Stand up, please. Janice Ricketson. Julie Flores. And Sharon Smith. The athletic department and the Bulldog football team appreciate the support and all the behind-the-scenes people who make our program what it is. Each year we try to recognize some of these individuals that without their support we could not have the program for our athletes that we have. This certificate is just a small way of saying thanks. We have a certificate of appreciation, Taylor County High School in appreciation to Dr. James Rawls for his outstanding service and contributions to the Bulldog football program. Ms. Rickson, would you see to Dr. Rawls, please? Also, Dr. Chris Stowers, Sports Medicine, Tallahassee Orthopedic Clinic. Frank Ambrose. We also have another certified trainer that helped us a lot, John Watson. Another group that we would like to recognize is a group that worked their fannies off. They went over and above during this football season and also with the playoffs. I felt like the community-wide pep rally that we had on the Wednesday night prior to our first playoff game was probably one of the most meaningful pep rallies we had all this year. It was our cheerleaders that helped get that going. And so at this time, I'd like to recognize our cheerleaders, starting with our sponsors, Miss Sabrina Gunther, All right, for our cheerleaders, Jessica Lilliot. Come forward, please. Marty Dial. Gina Courtney. Colleen Fuquay. Olivia Hill. Kathy Anderson. Shanika Tucker. Shelly Ferguson. Sherry Hankerson. And Emily Pitt. And also for his contributions to the Touchdown Club and our Bulldog football team, Mr. Bill Wright of Pepsi-Cola. Also, we'd like to recognize some of our Touchdown Club members who are very, very active in support of our program. Jimmy Lundy, President, Touchdown Club. Ken Pickles, Treasurer. Janice Rickerson, Janice ramrodded all of our chartered buses on each trip that we had. On Monday mornings when we came back to school after our playoff game, the hall decoration, that was coordinated by Emery and June Singletary. Cook extraordinaire, Mr. John Compton. Bobby Spradley, one of our many men who met on Friday afternoons and helped cook our pregame meals. Mary Blue, who heads up our football programs, our game programs for during this football season. And Billy and Patty Pill, the ones who printed our programs for the Jamboree, for each of our home playoff games, and again for videotaping our home football games. Now I'd like to turn the program over to Coach Jack Turner.
Coach's comments. One heck of a year. When we were sitting 2-4 after the Madison game, all-time morale amongst a lot of people in the community was really down. We got with the players that off week, met and had 3 easy practices. Just told them, just keep believing in yourselves, keep believing in yourselves. Things will happen. We got together and provided probably the biggest upset that this state's seen in 5 years by us beating Libo. Now, a lot of people consider it an upset. The coaching staff and us players didn't. We knew what we could do. They knew if they played up to their ability, the determination and desire that they've shown since August 15th, that anything could be accomplished. And from that point on, we were a different team. told the seniors after the last game that we had here, Alachua Santa Fe, that I thank them for laying the cornerstone for the program. It's now for the underclassmen to build upon that cornerstone. One thing that you can never forget is what got you where you are now. The hard work and desire that you had this summer and in the off season and during two-a-days got you to where you were at the end of this season. Don't let complacency set in. We have 16 people coming back. We knocked on the door of the state championship this year. Next year we ought to kick it in. A lot of people helped with the program. I'd like to really thank the assistant coaches. We have a little bit different philosophy here. I'm the one that's going to catch the gripes and the glory at times, but we work equally. We all have the equal amount of input. J.B. Wilson, who did the defensive backs and receivers, Steve Budnick, who was defensive coordinator and coached the defensive line, and Eddie Metcalf, who coached linebackers and offensive backs. You know, Coach Budnick summed it up pretty good one time. He said all four of us threw a quarter in and we made a buck. And that's what happened. Now, I consider myself pretty much a workaholic when it comes to football, but these men here really, spend anywhere between 20 to 30 extra hours a week breaking down films, going over tendencies, and developing game plans. It just doesn't happen in those 2 hours that you see at practice. The players, what can you say to a group that was 4-6 last year, was picked to be bottom of the district this year again? They believed in themselves. They matured, they grew, they suffered, and they fought together and achieved great things. Like I said, next year ought to be even better. Also like to thank our JV coaches that were here. Coach Flores, Coach Rickerson, Coach Smith. Coach Mincy's not here, and Coach Harvey has a prior engagement. They're the ones that set the foundation for us down in the 9th and 10th grade. They do an excellent job. You know, it's hard, it's frustrating. It takes a lot of love and dedication to spend your extra hours out there with a group of men, young men, and try to mold them. You're doing an excellent job. Overall, the season, you know, you think of seasons like this, coming from behind under all sorts of adversity and make the playoffs, win the district. And we believe this is the toughest district in the state of Florida. It's just great. Swanee, first beating McCullough. I have to throw that in there. It's a little personal thing. Beating McCullough, Swanee, Stark, Leon. We had a couple of miscues. We should have beat Leon, but ended up in the regular season 5-5. Went over to play Pace. It was averaging 39 points a game. We know offensively we're really not as powerful as we are on defense, but we produced an all-season high 31 points against Pace to beat them 31-21. Then we played Bowles, who were the state 2A champions last year. Great work by the defensive coaches in finding some tendencies against them and shut Bowles down to an all-time low. And then we played Alachua Santa Fe, the eventual state champions. We knew the game that we had here with Santa Fe would be for the state championship. As many of you know, Alachua went on to play Haines City for the state championship and blew them out 41-3 or 6, something like that. One thing I'd like to express, involvement. Success is spread many ways. One, winning seasons, going as far as we did. But some of the success we had was good seeing fathers and sons get united and closer together, and families getting closer together. What I don't like to see a lot of times, people bickering and complaining about things. People, we have an organization, the Booster Club. I don't know how much, I think it's $10 to join. Get involved, be part of the program. All right? They meet every Monday night, and I'm gonna tell you, I've been involved in high school athletics 17, 18 years. And I've never seen a group of people that work their buns off. That's what part of these people do. A lot of the players don't realize the extra effort it takes to have meals, pre-game meals, to buy jackets, shoes, and all these things. In the time of budget crunches, schools can't afford that. And these people get together and they work their fingers to the bone. Fundraising projects, arranging the banquets and things like this. Get involved. Don't be part of the problem, be part of the solution. Because better things are coming for this community in football, I guarantee it. Thank you.
Before we move into recognition of our individuals and our teams, I got a couple more awards I'd like to give out. Number one, I know what goes into preparation for playoff games. Having been there before as a coach, I know the amount of time that goes in. During the regular season, you have 2 or 3 game films that you have to break down during the week. You get to playoffs, you got 10, you got 11, you got a 12 games schedule of films that you got to break down. And you know that you can't just do 3 or 4 because you feel like that if I look at that next film, I may find something that can be the difference. I've been around lots of playoffs, but I felt like this year's football team, our coaching staff, was as well prepared in our playoff games we've ever seen. And I feel like that just deserves special recognition. So from the athletic department at Taylor County High School, we have these plaques that we're going to give to our coaches. They read. Coach Jack Turner, Taylor County High School, 1991 District Region Section AAA Champions. Coach Steve Budman. Coach J.B. Wilson. Coach Eddie Metcalf. And also one of our loyal assistant coaches, Coach John Ricketson. This time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Dozier Allen. Mr. Allen is a representative of the Big Bend Football Official Association out of Tallahassee, Florida, and he's here to give a special recognition to our football team. Mr. Allen.
Thank you, Paul. This is a lot better than being on the football field, I can guarantee you. I do want you to know that I hear what you say out there anyway. Be glad to play again. I certainly appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight to represent the Big Bend Football Officials Association to present this award to Taylor County High School. It is absolutely the highest award that our association gives to anyone. Now, you've had a very successful season, but you say it wasn't good enough, and I agree. But anytime you reach the Final Four, folks, you have simply accomplished a great task. But I agree with you, that's not good enough, and we'll look forward to the next step, the final 2 this coming year, and I certainly hope we make it. Before I get into making the presentation, I'd just like to diverse just a little bit to tell you a little bit about football associations, or particularly our association, just to make you acquainted with some of the things that we do and why we do them that way, because I think they're important. Our training is 12 months out of the year. It is not during football season. We have already held a meeting in January for 1992. It will continue on until our first meeting, which is in April, our organizational meeting, in which all members attend, to let them know what programs we're going to put in effect for training, study, rule study, and so forth, to get them prepared for September. In August, we have a full month of nothing but rules study. Every Monday night, we meet for 2 to 3 hours and do nothing but rules. And we have to take a test every Monday night to be sure we understand what we've just got through studying. That goes through the entire month of August. We have the last Saturday in August. That is an all-day mechanics clinic. That is, we must attend that clinic, and it starts at 8 o'clock in the morning and goes all day, which deals with positions on the field, training people to be in the right place at the right time to accomplish what they need to accomplish, and that is to do a professional job as much as possible with amateurs like ourselves to give you a good game. We've done something this year, or this past year, that we've never done before that turned out to be very successful. I know the coaches each year review the training films, the rules films and so forth that are put out by the National Federation. But we attempted this year to do a mechanics film, that is field position. So we took the jamborees that we worked, and we actually had a lot of cameras set up throughout that field focused on certain positions on the field to get extra training. And we found that to have been very, very successful this year in helping us to do what we needed to do. We do stress many points in our training, and each of these points are certainly important to us, and they're important to you as spectators, they're important to the coaches as coaches, they're important to the school administration, because they're important to us to make us better officials. Patience and tolerance is one thing that we stress very strongly. That is tolerance with the coaches, tolerance with the players, and certainly tolerance with the fans. And all of those things are certainly important to making us better officials, doing that best job. We also stress the point that, you know, we're not on the same wavelength with this guy sitting here. We do it as a hobby. We do it because we simply enjoy what we do, and it's like hunting and fishing. You know what I'm talking about. It's a part-time, and we don't make a living at it. This man does. And we know that, and we have to recognize that, because winning is important to him. Having a good game called for him is important, because if he don't win, he don't keep his job very long. And we have to recognize the fact that when something happens on the field and Coach Turner gets upset with us about something, that's expected. And it should happen, because it gets our attention every now and then. And we've got to have tolerance and understand that this is what it's all about, and that's what we try to do. Of course, sometimes tolerance wears out, too. You gotta understand that. I've got many I could tell you, but I'd like to just tell you one incident that occurred with me. Now, I'm the white hat guy on the field out there, and I take everything this guy wants to give out, but he doesn't do that anymore. It involved Taylor County 4 or 5 years ago, and you were playing your great rivalry, Jefferson County. Some of you in here may remember the game. Jefferson County had the ball at midfield, right in front of the Taylor County bench and on their side. Quarterback gets the ball and he fades back to make that pass. He cocks that arm, and ever so slightly, he comes forward just 2 or 3 inches, and that's all it was. And immediately he got hit and the ball just scooted to the ground. And guess who fell on the ball? Taylor County. And you know what they wanted? They wanted a fumble. But I immediately, when the ball hit the ground, ruled it incomplete. Of course, the young man that recovered or got the ball didn't agree. The coach probably didn't agree. And I know the fans didn't agree. Because you let me have it. And that's okay. You pay your money, you do your thing, you get my attention. And I'm serious, I mean that. It doesn't bother me at all. But at any rate, I thought to myself, oh boy, here it comes. Because the kid walked by me and he said, Mr. Referee, we'd like a timeout and the coach would like to talk to you. And here it comes. Now the coach is not here tonight, he's not here any longer, but you'll know who I'm talking about when I finish the story. He walked on the field, and as usual, when I confront a coach, my arms are about like this, and we're very close, and he stood there for a minute and he looked up at me, and he said, Dozier, you're a fisherman, aren't you? I said, yeah, I enjoy fishing. He said, well, what kind of fishing do you usually do? I said, freshwater. He said, do you ever go saltwater fishing? I said, occasionally, but not often. He said, you know, well, we found some holes down here in the Osceola River, and we have really been catching the reds. I wish you'd call me one day, and you and I take off and go down there. And I said, thank you, Coach. And I walked back to the hut. Folks, he did not mention play. The fact is, I was in position to make the call, and that was important. Now, he may not have agreed with it, but I think the fact that I, as a referee, when that ball is snapped, my first and immediate focus is on that quarterback to protect him. And I'm only about 5 or 6 yards from him. And I have the advantage of seeing that arm just ever so slightly, which you don't see sometimes. Do that. And that's part of officiating. And you know, that's a little night I'll always remember. And I think you probably know the coach that I'm talking about. That happened. That was about 3 or 4 years ago, and I can't remember what it was. But anyway, the highest tribute that we can do for a school during a season. Because what is so important to you, to the coach, to us, is conduct on the field during the game. Now, to win this sportsmanship award, Coach, is not easy. Very, very few schools win it, and some never. You have won it before. This school has won it before. It's been a while. But it is done by every member of our association, and it involves your football program of varsity and JV. Whatever we do for your school is what it involves. It is done totally by secret ballot. There's no politicking involved in it. And we take into consideration several things to give this reward, and one of them is certainly the conduct and fair play of all of the players on the field. Also the conduct and the game administration by the coaches. Also the conduct of the fans. And our dealings with the school administration during the year, because we have to deal with them occasionally to accomplish whatever it is they need to accomplish. So without further ado, for the outstanding sportsmanship, for the excellent teaching by coaches and administration with regard to the spirit of team play, the spirit of playing by the rules, and certainly the spirit of good sportsmanship, which is obviously taught here at Taylor County High School. It is my very, very pleasure to present to Coach Turner this sportsmanship award from the Big Bend Football Officials Association and tell you on behalf of our association how much we appreciate it, Coach.
Varsity and the presentation of their participation certificates by Coach John Rickson.
I'm going to ask Coach Jimmy Smith to help me out here. And if you will, hold your applause until all the guys can come up and receive their certificate. Shavosky Lane, Jason Lego, Rodney Beasley. Some of these guys are probably playing basketball tonight. We have a conflict there. Dwight Carville, Otis Crocker, Sean Kroll, Roderick Ellis, Harold Flowers, Abdul Foley, Paulus Fuller, Frankie Holden, Curtis Hobson, Tony Jackson, Gary Owens, Chad Scott, Scott Singletary, Ryan Smith, Bill Stanley, Andre Tim. We still got chicken left. Andre didn't drink. Reed Tolles, Michael Wiles. I'd like to say one thing. These guys started out their freshman year much the same as seniors on this year's varsity team. We didn't do real well, but I would like to make one statement to the guys. You see what the varsity did. They didn't win anything in their freshman year either. Work will get you there.
Some of these, we moved up some JV players at the end of the season. To be successful in the team effort as we had this year, we keep stressing to the players that it's everybody on there, not just the people that are on the field at times. For us to be successful, we need people that play, we call scout offense, scout defense, to give us a good look. I'm going to tell you, we could not have gone as far as we did without the desire and the leadership of some of the seniors and underclassmen to take up these roles. They took it on as a challenge. They contributed just as well as anyone else on the team. And they were just as successful in their own as anyone. All right, now I fumbled my way through that, didn't I? Ryan Smith. Chris Woodfalk. Ryan Wolfkill. Scott Bembry. Ben Sessions. Jason Vincent. Anthony Washington. Reed Tolles. Michael Wild. Jeremy Lundy. Tim Poe. Bill Stanley. Manuel Bratcher. Deck Pillow. John Compton. David McLaughlin. Jay Ricketson. Jeff Moran. Ryan Lundy. Robert Ellis. Robert Spradley. Walter Horn. Brad Flores. Chris Thomas. Scott Singletary. Brad Singletary. Shabosky Hamilton. Shane Ross. Anthony Spanks. Terry Randall. Bashan Edmond. Eugene Stewart. Thompson. Eric King. Clifford Williams. Lee Wiles. Garrett Lundy. Artez Edmond. And our two trainers and managers, and without these two, we'd have been crazier than what we were. Jody Osteen and David Kinsey, the Goose.
Now we'd like the junior varsity sponsors, Kiki Wentworth and Cindry Patrick, to come forth and introduce one of the two best-looking groups of cheerleaders in the state of Florida, the junior varsity cheerleaders from Taylor County High School.
And the most important, I wanted to congratulate the varsity football team for being district, regional, and sectional champs. Congratulations. Second, I want to thank my parents for their support and their friends. They gave my cheerleaders a lot of courage and helped them make it through the year, which they need a lot of support. Thank you for that. Thank you for the Booster Club for giving us the opportunity to sell programs and raise money that support our cheerleaders through the year. My two captains are Mandy Dial and Katie Holden, which are up here, and the rest of my cheerleaders, if you'll please come up so I can let everybody see you. Brandy Sheriff, Alicia Edmond, Tiffany Page, Angie Bradshaw, Carrie Fiegel, Patty Hill, Christina Courtney, Mandy Brantley, Summer Patrick, Candy Murphy, Lori Hill. Is that it? That's all that's here. Thank you very much.
And the second of those two good-looking groups of cheerleaders, our varsity cheerleaders, will be introduced by Miss Sabrina Guthrie.
Several I'd like to thank. First of all, I'd like to thank the boosters and the community for their support in our spirit activities this year. They provided us with the famous noisemakers and our window paints, and they played a major role in bringing the community together, so thank you. Many thanks to the JV cheerleaders for their underlying support, and to the players, thank you for making this year memorable. I would like to present the varsity cheerleaders to you, who will in turn present their players with a very special scrapbook. Captain Jessica Lilliot, Co-Captain Marty Dahl, Senior Gina Courtney, Senior Shanika Tucker, Senior Kathy Anderson, Junior Olivia Hill, Junior Sherry Hankerson, Junior Colleen Fuquay, and Junior Shelley Ferguson. Each one of the girls will present their player their scrapbook.
My two senior players were Jay Ricketson and Megan Fracture.
now for the presentation of our football awards. To present the Outstanding Junior Varsity Offensive Player sponsored by the Citizens Bank is Coach Jimmy Smith.
Y'all can read well the brochure or the program said Chuck Flores, but he forgot his tie. Coach Flores was the offensive coach, and I assisted him as much as I could. And the kid that won Outstanding Junior Varsity Offensive Player Award tonight is a natural to the game. He'd never played a game of football in his life unless he did it in the Sandsburg patch or out in the backyard. We started him out one in a hard position, more or less just to put him in there just to have a backup. You know, you have a four tires in the car and one of them go flat, you need a spare. The kid never having played too much before, so, or any before. And we just started to train him and bring him along, so just in case something happened to the real quarterback, we'll have a spare. But that spare was a brand new tire. It's just as good as the quarterback that we have, and he shared quarterback duty. We had two quarterbacks, both of them was good. But this kid here, which most of my boys now know who it is, could play several different positions and play them well, never having played before. And he has made outstanding receiver as well. When the other quarterback was playing and we had him at wide receiver, the other player get tired, get hurt, we put him in a quarterback, he picks it up and never let it go to slack. You can't tell the difference between him and the other kid. We didn't play him too much on defense because we didn't think he could hit real hard. Push come to shove, we had to play him. Had no options. He could light your bell for you. He was good enough. He received an honor to even move up to the varsity after our season was over. He was asked by the coaches to come up. That in itself, guys, is a distinction honor in itself to be asked to move up to the varsity in your first year. Without putting it off any further, and it's my privilege. That's a good word for me. To honor this kid who is deserving, Curtis Hobson.
Coach John Ricketson. This trophy is sponsored by WPRY Radio.
As you can see by your programs, like Coach Smith said, this was something we were not expecting tonight, was to be up here in front of y'all. This young man played a number of positions for us also, offensively and defensively. Had several coaches after the game come up to us and want to know, of course I can't call his number because he used so many numbers, and that probably give it away to you, but we played him on offense and defense. He did a fantastic job. He played, like I say, a number of positions for us. On the offensive line, I don't think there was but one, was there, that you didn't play? Maybe center? You didn't play center, okay. On defense, all over the line. He knows who he is, so I'll go ahead and tell you who he is. Ryan Smith, our defensive player of the year.
Our Sophomore of the Year Award, sponsored by Taco Times, will be presented by Coach J.D. Wilson.
I don't think there's a whole lot of suspense with this award. We started the year with only 2 sophomores on the varsity, and one was a starter from the first game on, and I'd like to tell just a little bit about the young man because he came up to us with a great football reputation, but kind of a bad reputation attitude-wise. And I really, you hear him laughing in the back, but I really feel like he's turned the corner. We really preached on not quitting and keeping a good positive attitude the whole ball game. And if you remember the Santa Fe game, after they scored the first time and a couple of guys tried to hang their head, he wouldn't. He came in there, and if you remember, he made the big interception down the goal line the second time to turn him back. And sophomore of the year is Rashawn Edmonds.
Coach Eddie Metcalf will present our most improved player on the offensive side of the ball, sponsored by the Rotary Club of Perry.
This player sat out last year, and I think if he hadn't sat out, his season would have been a little better than it was, but it was a great season. And not only is he the most improved offensive player, but he's the shortest one too, Dick Phillip.
The most improved player on the defensive side of the ball, sponsored by L.R. Thomas Chevrolet, will be presented by Coach Wilson.
I guess maybe the fact that I'm giving out this award may give it away to some of the players. By the way, remind me next year not to sit next to Coach Budnick. He's raising havoc on these poor boys when they come up. Most improved defensive player, we got together and the boys voted, and we didn't have any disagreement at all with this vote. And I think the players and the coaches looked at it as being the young man that improved the most from game 1 to game 13. Though he almost didn't make game 11. But here's a young man that made several big plays. I know all of you remember the big interception against Leon that he almost took back for the touchdown. And I know there's a running back that they think is hot stuff over at Live that remembers him quite well. Most improved defensive player, Terry Randall.
McIntyre Trucking of Perry will be sponsoring our Coaches Award, which will be presented by Coach Steve Budnick.
You know I'm pretty shy, so I'm not used to talking in front of crowds. The Coaches Award, we discussed it, and this year we used it as a cornerstone award. As underclassmen or upperclassmen, players that have formed the foundation for the future. I've got 4 of these players. I'm just going to call all 4 of them up at the same time. 2 of these young men were the best young outside linebackers in the state of Florida. Only 2 outside linebackers to dominate as underclassmen. Anthony Washington will chase you down, no matter what kind of car you're driving. Brad Singletary, who could form a pile in front of a truck. You gotta understand that. All right. Another one was a strong safety, linebacker, best scout team running back we had. He did a little bit of everything. And most of you guys know who it is, Woody. Chris Woodfolk. I was going to call them all, but Coach Metcalf got me frustrated over here. Feel like a weekend. All right. Another one of our underclassmen who got some All-State recognition and should be an All-State player next year. Took on a new position this year, did a real good job when we kept him on our side of the ball. Jeremy Lundy.
Scout Team Award sponsored by South House Furniture of Perry, presented by Coach J.B. Wilson.
The scout team, for just a few people that don't know what that is, I guess, what it sounds like. You are the next week's opponent's team, either their offense or your defense. Coach Budnick mentioned Chris Woodfolk there. He got to be hammered by our linebackers running the football and so on. But we have several other people that time and time again would come in, and it's funny because when you become a senior, you tend to kind of hide when it comes to be scout team volunteer. And we have one young man though that if we need a scout defense, he'd be over there at free safety. If we need a scout offense, he'd be over there at wide receiver. And I feel like if he'd been blessed with a little more foot speed, he would have been a starter for all these years. And that's Scott Bemry. The other Scout Team Award, and this is a young man again that really loves the game of football, and if we need an offensive lineman or a linebacker, someone to get down in the trenches, he wouldn't mind tying up with anyone at any time, and we felt like we'd really give you the best look up front. And that, in other words, if we wanted to see if we could block a specific position or run through a specific position, we would put him there and we'd find out whether we could or not. And that's Robbie Spratton.
The Optimist Club of Perry is sponsoring our Special Teams Award, and it will be presented by Coach Wilson. Excuse me, Coach Metcalf, didn't have my glasses on.
These are two guys that I respect a lot as football players and people. The first one's 145 pounds, but come Friday night, he plays like he's 315 pounds, Shane Ross. This next kid made them when they counted. The Golden Toe of Taylor County, Jay Ricketson.
Best offensive lineman sponsored by the Elks Club of Perry, Coach Steve Budnick.
Best offensive lineman. Only could have been about 5 or 6 of them. Did a real good job. You know, y'all know this young man. For some of you that played with John and Jimmy and some of the guys, remember the big blocking scheme back then was a leg whip. So this young man might just bring it back. It's also kind of funny sitting here in front of the sportsmanship trophy. Got Eddie Metcalf to my left over here. And Walter Horn, offensive lineman.
The Taylor County, it's rubbing off on me, I'm sorry. The Taylor County Touchdown Club is sponsoring the Best Receiver Trophy, which will be given by Coach Wilson.
I'm up here again. I was going to compliment Coach Dial earlier and I forgot, but I think that Coach Turner and Coach Dial and the Touchdown Club and probably the school administration and even a little hand from the school board here have done a tremendous job of somehow, when you look at the likes of myself and Coach Budnick and Coach Metcalf, getting us through this football season. And I'm sure Coach Turner will be the first one to admit that he's never asked Coach Dial for anything that Coach Dial hasn't done his best to get for him. And I'm asking for a few more coaches. I've been up and down 6 times already. Best receiver. This young man had some big catches, and I don't think it'll be a surprise. He was certainly our most consistent receiver, and as good a receiver as he was, he may have been a better blocker, probably the best downfield blocker we've had at Taylor County the 9 years I've been here, and that's Jason Vincent.
The Best Offensive Back Award, sponsored by CNT Logging, will be presented by Coach Jack Turner.
The only thing bad I would say about this young man is I sure do wish he'd get a little bit heavier. Playing at 132 to 136 pounds on a good day, even though he's bulked up now to 142. Last year, every year we go into the season, you always think, how long is it going to be before he gets hurt? And he's taken some great shots and has given out some, and he just keeps bouncing back. And if he gets bigger, he'll be awesome, more awesome than he is now. Artez Edwards.
UDI Union, Coach Steve Budnick.
back again. Best defensive lineman. Well, since there were only really 4 main defensive linemen, and they told me we couldn't vote for the outside linebackers, even though they did a great job. And then you got Jeremy Lundy, who just got better and better every week, but he's got another year, and he's going to be even better next year. You got Walter Horn, who's as nasty, mean. He's just football. You know, and I don't know how Australia's still afloat. But then you got Tim Poe, who, when you knew it was a pass, you better not have the ball in your hand, because Tim will get there if he knows it's not a run. And then we had the young man that came in after we were 2-4. Came in and he was a nightmare. Strong, fast, aggressive, confident. Made the top 10 in tackles and only played in 7 games. Mr. Anthony Spinks.
Presented by Coach Eddie Metcalf.
We decided to give co-winners this year because the linebackers we had were both leaders. They both hard-nosed football players. We got Eric King, the emotional leader. Something went wrong, Eric grabbed the guy. Look, we got to straighten this out. You got to play football like you're able to. Then you have Chris Thomas. Chris Thomas led the team in tackles. He was the physical leader. If somebody ran the ball, Chris was hitting them, and he was hitting them hard. And we couldn't decide on a true winner, so both of them won.
And Coach J.B. Wilson.
I know some of you have been to this banquet the last 2 years, and I know I've said the same thing. But the 2 gentlemen they just brought up here won last year's and the years before Best Defensive Back Trophy. And I'm tired of creating these linebackers for you. If you make this one a linebacker, you one heck of a coach. I don't think there's going to be much argument on this. I know some people get upset when a person wins 1 or more trophies, but if you think back to that pass about 47 yards downfield against Live Oak, and that Live Oak boy running perfectly in stride on into the touch. Oh wait, here comes number 1. Going the other way. You're not going to let me mention Jacksonville Bowles down on our goal line, throwing it across the middle. Here comes number 1. That's right. Bring that suit up here, Artez. Let me see that. Artez Edmond.
Turner will now present the most valuable player on offense, sponsored by Johnson's Bakery of Perry.
Led the team in rushing and scoring again this year. Fine young player. Again, I just hope he grows. Artez Edmond.
Most Valuable Player, Defense, sponsored by First Federal Savings Bank, presented by Coach Steve Budnick.
MVP Defense. Who is it? Let me give you some stats, just a couple. 150 plus tackles. The most feared man on the team at times. Led the defense in scoring. 2 interceptions for touchdown. Number 44, the man they hate to see on film, Chris Thomas.
Leadership, sponsored by Florida Power Corporation, presented by Coach Turner.
This young man's a senior who's going to be sorely missed by me especially. He had the attitude and mentality that you look for an offensive lineman. Aggressive, smart, and think on the move. Just going to miss him. Great young man, Baltimore.
Golden Helmet Award, sponsored by Babcock Furniture, presented by Coach Turner.
Golden Helmet. First of all, this being the second to last award presented. The awards were chosen, were voted by the players. Coaches had as many votes as the players, just one vote each. This award here is this recipient, winner of the Golden Helmet, is a person you cannot get along with, that contributed the most offensively and defensively to the program. It suits the Golden Helmet goes to the man who is most valuable offensive player and was best defensive back, Artez Edmonds.
Which goes to our senior with the highest GPA, which is the highest grade point average. This is a special award because there are many, many days after practice, I'm sure they go home, they just don't feel like studying. We had several kids that was real close. We went through guidance and asked guidance to pull out the GPAs of our seniors, and once they did, it was like 0.13 of a point difference. But this year's Scholastic Award, the football player with the highest GPA is Ryan Wolfkill. Our last award on our program is our special awards. In recognition for an outstanding football season in 1991, the athletic department presents championship jackets to the Bulldog football team, the coaches, the school administration for a total team effort in making this a championship team season. And I sincerely mean that when I say a total team effort. The coaches, the team, and our administration. There's 3 jackets that I would like to present, and then I'm going to turn the rest of the jackets over to Coach Turner to hand out to the players at the end of the banquet. Our superintendent of schools, Mr. Lester Padgett. Our principal, Taylor County High School, Mr. Jim Siner. Our assistant principal, Mr. Jerry Oliver. And he is part of our team. He's a very intricate part of our team. Mr. Bill Pilla, video. These jackets will be turned over to Coach Turner. The jackets are Taylor County Bulldogs with the player's name and number embroidered on the front. And the back is the part we're most proud of. AAA District Regional Sectional Football Champions 1999.
Before Mr. Lundy has closing remarks, there's some people I'd like to thank. The school board, the administration, cheerleaders, cheerleading sponsors. Guys, you don't know how hard they work for those scrapbooks and selling ribbons, keep the spirit up. The windows during the playoffs, I tell you, it was make goosebumps go down. Those touchdown clubs, it's all the beginning. Get involved. It's a great group of people to get involved with. Special thanks to Mr. Pillow, who does our filming, doesn't charge us, buys his own film, gives it to us. He's always there. There's a group of people that all you got to do is ask, and they're there. And I'd also like to thank, before we get going, my wife for putting up with me during the season, the long hours. She's a remarkable woman most of the time. All right, getting you out of trouble again, dear. I don't have to pay Sheffield's with it. You seniors, I'm going to miss you. Like I said before at the beginning, don't feel free to ask. If it's within our power, we'll try to help in any way we can. Underclassmen, don't become complacent. You saw what happened this year when you set goals. Goals can be attained if you work for them. Don't think it just was a fluke. One of the flukes that was broken this year was the turnout we had during the summer was the biggest that we had. There's a correlation between that and championship seasons. And I'm going to tell you people, this county, yourselves, and the coaching staff will not accept anything but a state championship next year. Thank you.
This time I'd like to ask all the senior football players to come up. We've got a presentation they'd like to give Coach Turner. This award goes to Coach Turner for being the best coach ever at Taylor County. Okay, in closing, all the pictures you see on the back wall were donated by Mr. Pilla and Mr. and Miss Singletary. And if you'd like, you see something that you'd like to take home with you, just go ahead. But please do not
throw those tacks on the floor in here. Take them up and put them in a cup. I'll try to get a couple of cups so we can put them in the back. Oh, okay. Mr. Singletary said that the players could have these pictures on the wall. I've got a ladder in the back that we can get in a minute as soon as the program's over, and we'll give you those to all the players that want them. And I guess it'd be right after Coach Turner gives y'all y'all's jackets. I'm asking everyone that's not a member of the Touchdown Club, try to get involved in it. Like I said, we meet every Monday night, 7:30 till. Sometimes we're there an hour or two or till. Never can tell when we all get to talking and watching that film. At this time, I'd like to have everybody, let's give these players and cheerleaders another round of applause, and we can do it. Say a few words to those people that worked real hard in the kitchen tonight. And some of these young women, the little women, I think that's